this is part 2 or 3, and I might just like put it as all in one in the end. But yeah, I'm just putting all these hoppers in. We're gonna have story time. We're gonna have story time, so this isn't just one boring long commentary. So, alright, I'm gonna make the story all on my own. So once there was a farmer, his name was Farmer Joe, and he used to be a hobo, but that was fine because he was a nice guy actually. And Farmer Joe, he had a wife and kids, but they didn't like him. So one day he went to go visit them, and then when he saw his wife with another man, he started just sitting there and he started crying, realizing that he'd lost her. So he decided that he would wait till the guy had left. In my head I was picturing him having dinner or something. Anyways, so the guy had left. We're gonna call him Chad. No, Chad had left. No, yes, Chad had left. And he had seen Joe, you know. Now Chad was a rich guy, and Joe being poor, because you know he used to be a hobo back in the times. But he was a changed man, Joe. You know, he was a farmer. He had a job, and he didn't have depression. He didn't have depression as a farmer, so he was pretty successful. So he went to go. He knocked on the door for his wife, and she was speechless when she saw him, and she slammed the door on him. Yeah. And obviously Joe was feeling very sad, so he decided that he was gonna marry someone. So he got his friend Pete, and they decided that they would start meeting people. But for some reason, people had expectations, so they didn't bother anymore. Because their expectations was not a farmer, rich, and 7.9 feet. 7 foot and 9 inches. Yeah. So Pete and Joe, was his name Farmer Joe? Yeah, it was. They decided that they would get better jobs. Pete became a chef, and Joe was a banker, and so they're not having a heist. Although I was gonna say something very similar. So they decided they were gonna rob Toys R Us and sell the toys to the pawn shop and get rich. So they got about £1 million, and yeah, this is a big Toys R Us. And yeah, they were rich, and they started, you know, being more fashionable, and then they met people. I am an idiot. I was too focused on my story. Okay, never mind, story time's over. Anyways, now story time will continue. And you know, they started meeting people, and they were very happy with the way things were going, until the police caught up with them and went, "You will be sentenced to court for robbing Toys R Us. So as the policeman left, they fled with all, with the ring of the woman they were chatting to. So they got about 14,000 more for that. But Joe was then fired because, you know, they discovered that he was working in a bank and was a thief. But we don't steal from banks. That's not what the boys do. The boys do better things than that. But we're more educated. Should I be concerned that none of my melons have grown? These are melon seeds. Oh, thank God they are. Whew. I thought we were in for unhappy times. Anyways, so he was fired. So they immigrated unnoticed to Canada. They originally were in England, because, you know, England is England. I don't know, I just felt like saying that. And while they were in Canada, they had to live up in the mountains. It was very cold, and the conditions were harsh, and they had no food. So they had to eat deers, rabbits, birds, and whatnot, and fish, which doesn't sound bad. Like, fish doesn't sound bad, and deer, I guess, doesn't sound bad, but birds, they hate birds. And so they decided that as men they would completely mess up the water source and leave. You know, just, it's a normal thing. Oh God, progressive rock I'm listening to progressive rock. I need to finish the story. I need to finish the story. Okay. And so they left and they went into the shop and they got these coats, and one day they got a car and the police found him, and they were having this car chase, and Joe got shot and Pete broke his leg, so they couldn't really walk. Well, Joe had to carry him to the hospital, even though they still had the police on their backs. So they chucked him in A&E, actually, not hospital. And then what happened was, after Pete got chucked in A&E, Joe had to finish the job. That was his calling in life. He had to finish his job. He had to be a successful person. So, pardon me. To leave Pete, and he hopped on a boat to the Philippines. Let's go to the Philippines. And he then became a farmer. Again, yeah. Except he didn't farm the odd potatoes and carrots. He's a melon farmer. And they say he still lives with Minecraft today. And if you manage to get a million melons, you'll spawn. Not clickbait. Not clickbait. I promise. I'm a foolproof bloke. Anyways. So after Joe managed to sell out completely, you know, he became a farmer, as I said, and he met another farmer. This farmer was a woman, and they got married after about 7 years being with each other. But they had to have it in a barn. And then they had a kid, like 2 years later, and his name was... Oh wait, I didn't explain the wife's name. The wife's name was Joanna, Joe and Joanna, and then the child's name was Josephina. Josephina was a girl. And then they lived happily ever after in the land of the mythical mushrooms and Narnia. The end. You could check out my book in selected stores and online. Thank you so much.